How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Supreme Tennis. Now in this video we're going to share with you how to make the most out of your forehand and win more matches with the shot that we all clearly hit more often than any other shot in the game. Also, if you're new here and you want to learn how to maximize your potential, win more tennis matches, impress your friends at your local tennis club, or just improve, please do consider subscribing. It really does help the channel to grow, and it pushes us even further to make more free content for you guys. So as you can see, we have some great clips here of Laura, and yeah, a big shout out to Laura for allowing us to use this footage. And we're going to be using her forehand to demonstrate some key fundamentals that many of us just aren't practicing. So make sure to stay tuned until the end of the video. It's only about 5 minutes long, and be sure not to miss out on any of the key points. Now, we're going to speak briefly about the grip used in this analysis video. We're going to talk about the preparation, the contact point, the finish, and then the type of stance used. Now, implementing these points is going to help remove technical flaws that you might have. It's going to help improve consistency and just sort of cut out those unforced errors, as well as help to produce more power with your forehand to dictate the point and ultimately win more matches. So firstly, we're going to look at the preparation and setup in what we call the power position, or otherwise known as the loading phase. And here you can see, although it may not be as obvious to some, Laura is using a semi-western grip on her forehand. A grip that allows you to generate plenty of topspin if needed, but also has the flexibility to flatten the ball out if necessary. And then there's other advantages with this grip, which also include an easy transition to the backhand grip, as well as the versatility to deal with both high and low balls. And it's also worth noting that the semi-western grip on the forehand is the most commonly used grip on the professional tour. Moving on to the footwork, Laura on this particular shot is using a semi-open stance. So you can see that she's loading on her outside foot to generate power from her lower body. And then also just make note of the knee bend here, which I'm going to explain in a bit more detail in a second. But before that, I want to mention that the semi-open and open stances are great to use when receiving faster balls. It requires a bit less movement with the feet when compared to, let's say, a neutral or a closed stance, and that just means you're able to get in position much sooner. And then lastly, with this loading phase, we're going to have a quick look at Laura's arm positioning, more specifically her left arm. And we can see that she has it extended out across her body parallel with the baseline. And this is to just help align the positioning of her body for when she makes contact with the ball, because she doesn't want to be too close and she doesn't want to be too far. And using her left arm at this point throughout the shot is going to help to decide whether or not she's in a good position. And then by extending her left arm across her body, that also helps to engage her shoulders and her hips more. And this will just help her get more power for when she eventually accelerates through the shot. Now moving on to the next phase, the first thing I want to look at here is the extension of Laura's legs. And I previously mentioned the knee bend and how we saw her loading on the outside foot. And this was just to allow for an explosive leg drive up into this part of the stroke now. And a quick tip here would be to explode and push up forwards, but towards the direction of the ball, as opposed to just exploding up in a straight vertical line. And then with regard to the contact point, which is equally as important when going for power, it's also important when looking at direction. And it's maybe not the best angle to see here, but we can tell that Laura's contact point is out and in front of her body. And keeping our bodies behind the face of the racket when making contact allows us to get more weight into the shot. And if we find contact either too early or too late, we might find ourselves hitting the ball wide. And then also try to keep your head very still through this acceleration phase and look to see the ball on the strings when at contact, just to help achieve this. And then lastly here we have the finishing phase, and I don't know about you, but I just feel like Laura has a nice looking forehand overall. Like it's aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and we have effective forehands that sometimes don't look particularly nice in my opinion. I mean, I guess if it works and wins you games, then it's fine, but to me, for example, I believe Federer has arguably one of the best forehands in the world, partly because of how graceful it looks. The style, the simplicity, and how elegant the stroke looks, I feel plays a big part in being labeled as one of the greatest shots in tennis. And it's obvious the damage he can cause with it. We all know how effective it is. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Does style matter to you? Anyway, notice how Laura has wrapped the racket around her body with her follow through here. This is important as it helps with recovery back towards the center of the baseline, and this is caused by the natural momentum swaying in that direction. And you know, although we have different types of finishing on the forehand, I like how she ends the stroke with her elbow around chin height, with her head resting just above her shoulder, and thinking chin to shoulder on the finish again just helps maintain keeping your head still through contact, because lifting or moving your head too much will cause more unforced errors. Let's have a look here from a different angle, and before we quickly recap, I just want to say that consistent technique will produce consistent results. Yes, there will be times where you have to improvise, but for the most part, try to make your forehand look the same as often as possible, because consistent technique produces consistent results. So repetition is key. So yeah, again here from behind this time, we can see that the non-hitting arm is extending out across the body to turn the shoulders and the hips, as well as, like we said, helping to align her body with the ball. But this time, however, we see a fully open stance instead of a semi-open stance. So Laura is stepping out completely parallel to the baseline, but of course we have the same loading on the outside foot, as well as the knee bend to engage that lower body. And then into the second phase, we see that same extension of the legs up and into the ball, along with good contact in front of the body, followed by the finish by wrapping the racket around the body, chin to shoulder and elbow up. So yeah guys, that was just a quick stroke analysis video, and of course there are plenty of other things to discuss on the forehand, and you know, we'll look to do that in the future with similar videos like this one. Of course we're going to discuss other shots too. And then yeah, once again a big thank you to Laura for allowing us to use this footage on the channel. We think you have an amazing looking forehand. And yeah, we're just going to close out again by asking if you can subscribe if you haven't already. One thing we have noticed is only 10% of our viewers are subscribers, so there's a good 90% of you watching our content who haven't subscribed. Remember, it's completely free to subscribe, and if you want to support, if you want more content, you know, it really does help the channel to grow if you can hit that subscribe button. And yeah, like the video, drop a comment and all that good stuff, and we hope to see you in the next one. Take care guys.